Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of My Athletic Compendium. Today we're going to have a little bit of a chat. I think there's not necessarily a specific topic. Well, there is. It's sort of motivation, what could be holding you back as an athlete. Just had a bit of a thought really as of yesterday with my own personal training and reflecting on, I don't know, maybe the last sort of 10 years of my sports journey, and some little tips and tricks that, I wish I knew back then. So I'm going to start with asking you a question, Max, like I always do. If you could reflect on anything in the past, what are you now, 25?
Mm-hmm.
What do you wish you knew when you were 15 in terms of mindset that would have benefited you now?
That it's possible,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever it is that I grew up as a sporty person, and I started playing rugby when I was in year 7, like how old you are then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I always kind of I was fucking massive for my age, so I was like,
Still are, mate.
not really, but fairly average, actually. But anyway, I was quite a keen rugby player because I was so much bigger than everyone else, so it just kind of came to me naturally, I suppose. But I had this big dream of becoming a rugby player and that, and I got pretty damn close. Like I played some A-League and I played a bit of first team rugby and stuff, be it very, very briefly. But I think just knowing that it's possible from an early age, because I was always a little bit hesitant that it wasn't going to happen, and I think that ultimately could have been the thing that stopped me. Do you know what I mean? But
Confidence.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I wasn't not confident, but I wasn't I didn't know if it was possible. But now that I got really damn close, and the kind of the feelings that I get now of I just wish I could have given it that extra 10% to push it all the way. Do you know what I mean?
I never got to the level you did, but it's literally the same thing. I think back to when I was 15, I got into sort of county level. I was playing regional, so Southwest, and then got an England trial. Fucked it. But at that time, you constantly doubting yourself, thinking, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not good enough for this. You go to uni. Well, I went to uni, went to Nottingham, and in the back of my head, I was like, I'm not good enough to play first team. I got in the first team, didn't start that many games, but I was always in the squad.
Yeah.
And in the back of your head, there's always that niggle going, no, I'm not good enough for this. And actually, now at 26, I was playing rugby yesterday, and you turn up at a new team, or I have done anyway, and you look at all the guys around you and you just see those natural athletic builds, those really quick players, the people that are really strong, really quick as well, great fitness, and you just think, these guys are all way better than me. But actually, having some confidence in yourself and knowing your abilities and going, especially in rugby, it is literally a sport built for all athleticisms. I'm not that quick, I'm not that strong, but I know the game and I know the vision and where to put people that are quick. And I wish I had the confidence that I do now back when I was 15, because I would have gone, look at him, he's so strong. Look at him, he's so quick. But he's not necessarily better than you, because you're in two different positions that actually... that requires him to be really quick as a winger, or that requires him to be really big and strong as a forward. But actually, no one's got the vision or the skill set to be able to pull off where you're playing. So it is, for me, a big thing is just confidence and telling yourself you are good enough if you definitely put in the effort. It's not just good enough saying you've got some talent. You need to be backing that up with hard work. I don't know anyone who's got anywhere without hard work.
I know so many people who, growing up when we were in academies together, put in not a lot of effort at all, not half as much effort as myself and like a lot of the other players that I was around, but were still really, really good, but none of them made it past that academy stage because they didn't have that extra edge. Where you have to put in work rate, so your skill set in like how you're passing or your the like you said, that vision of how to manipulate defenders and whatever.
But do you think
never made it past it because
do you think that comes down to self-sabotage? Because potentially they didn't. I'm speculating here completely, but to the point where maybe they didn't believe they were good enough, so they didn't put in that extra work, thinking they weren't ever going to get anywhere with it. Whereas if they firmly believed, I am good enough to be here, I'm going to keep working to make sure I am good enough. Would you just think they were lazy?
There's both. Like, I think there's both ends of that kind of spectrum, I suppose, because there are people who would think that they rely on natural talent and they don't have that self-belief that they can do it, but they're still a really good player and therefore they don't make it because they don't have that self-belief. But then there's also the other end that think, and I know a few players who were like this, who were really, really naturally talented and quick and agile and whatever, but knew it and when they were good and got complacent, and then they ended up just falling off it completely, whether that's because they lost interest because it wasn't challenging them, or whether they neglected that work ethic and that training, like trainability, to actually become a better rugby player, by which point a lot of people have fully developed, or they've improve over time through hard work, and then they all of a sudden aren't as good. So I think there's both ends of that kind of spectrum.
Yeah.
But it's 1% or less than 1% of rugby players or football players definitely that actually make it professional. And you've got to be absolutely naturally gifted as well as with a hard work ethic and with a bit of luck. And if you get all of that all together, that's what makes you a full timer. It's if you're anything less than that, no.
But I'm even putting it down to, like, I've never played any professional rugby or anything. Like, you could say National 3 is semi-pro, but the difference between professional and that level really isn't, like, you watch it on the telly and you think they are leaps and bounds above what we are, but then, for example, playing with them on the weekend when you're playing sevens or playing, you realise actually they are just another human, and they're really not that good. You might see them do something special on the telly, but that's because they're surrounded by other special people. But
they put them in that opportunity.
Exactly. But if you had those people around you, you might perform very similarly. But I think you just you put things on a pedestal and think, you either think I can get there with no work, or you think I'm never going to get there and don't put in the work. And both are a form of self-sabotage. I just think people need to believe in themselves, and if it's something you really, really want, work hard for it. Don't stop till you get it. Because so many people think I'm going to work really hard for 2 years at the age of 16, and they get sad that they don't make England under 18s. But what they forget is a rugby career, for example, is till what, you're like 34. If you keep putting in those extra days, those extra days turn into weeks, turn into months, you're compounding the benefits of each. You're training, your strength training, you're practicing your skill set, you're getting more intelligent because you're just getting older and a bit more mature and learning the games, and all of these things compound to the point where actually because you're putting in all those efforts, you're actually exponentially getting better than the person who is next to you who isn't working. But people want everything now, don't they? And there are those sort of kid wonders that get everything now, but there's also a lot of people that just work hard to get where they need to get.
I two things I want to mention about what you said. The first one was based off my own experience, in that, you look out and watch on the TV of the people that you follow, idolise, whatever, and you do think, oh my god, they're miles ahead of you. But an experience that I witnessed, and I say this because you know me, you've played with me, you know.
Pardon the pun, Max.
I'm just like a National 2 player, just everyone's played with me and against me. They know what I'm like as a player, whatever.
Yeah.
But my kind of highlight, I suppose, of my career was when I was at university. I was training in the non-players squad at Exeter Chiefs.
Yeah.
And there's one training session that I was training with like Jack Knoll and Henry Slade and whatever. And that was like, I'd argue, the highest sort of level I've played, despite not being a player for Exeter Chiefs. I was part of that non-playing squad. And I remember playing a conditioned touch game against Jack Knoll at Sandy Park, which was like a fucking big deal, especially when I was at uni. And I remember being against him, and I remember thinking, "Oh shit, I'm against Jack Knoll on the wing right now." Like,
Yeah,
he's going to be.
I'm not even going to touch him. He's going to get right now.
Him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I kind of, in my head, I was like, no, I fucking earned the right to be here. I've been asked to train here. I wouldn't be put here for the sake of it. So I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm just going to like contain him. I'm not necessarily going to be better than him, but I'm going to contain him. I remember the first things that happened was...
He floored you.
No. I thought, okay, well, he's going to see me and he's going to think, new uni student, I'm just going to try and run around him.
Yeah.
And instantly, I had that in my head, and I defended him for this one phase, and then another phase, and then I remember in this conditioned touch game you could kick in it, and then the next one he tried to chip it over me, and I, rather than like trying to chase back for it, I made sure that I was chasing back, but I was getting in his way and like trying to block him off a little bit so he wasn't running around me and scoring eventually, and just like little things like that. And he didn't score against me. And then after that training session, I was just like, hold on a minute, like, little old me, like
who's just been against
someone who's played for England, like
the Lions,
yeah,
literally top tier.
And it's just like, so, and that's where what I mentioned before about that thing of like, if I could tell 15-year-old Max that it's possible and that you can do it just with that little bit of extra self-belief.
But it's also being in the moment, in that session, you gave yourself some self-confidence.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about confidence, which you wish you could have given 15-year-old you, but in that moment, you went, I've earned the right to be here.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a job,
and
I'm going to go through with that, and I'm going to work hard to make sure that job gets done. So you gave yourself the confidence that you needed that day, and it worked. And that probably gave you more confidence going forward.
And I'm a real strong believer in that was like legitimate confidence, like and like titled confidence, but I do really believe in artificial confidence as well. Like
fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. If you can be in a scenario which you're completely inexperienced in, but just be, even though you absolutely don't have confidence in what you're doing, whatever that is.
Yeah.
If you just think, right, I'm just going to do this as if I know what I'm doing.
Tell yourself you are the best at that job.
Yeah, but actually believe it as well.
Believe it, but don't
be naive.
I'm trying to say don't express it. So believe it in yourself. Tell yourself you are the best, but don't come out as cocky. Don't be telling other people you're the best, because then if you fuck up,
you're an idiot.
Yeah, you're an idiot. People won't like you because you think you're being, cocky. But that self-belief going, I am the best here. I can do this. You see it all the time in American sports.
Yeah.
They tell their mate, I'm the best,
Yeah.
And they might have really low self-confidence, and that's why they're affirming it to everyone else. But they're almost bigging themselves up to try and be confident. And it works.
It's like, you would have heard this before, I'm sure every rugby player's heard of this before, is making a bad decision is better than making no decision. So like, if you, whether the decision's good or bad, as long as you commit to it 100%, then you're going to be better off, because you're either going to learn or you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't make a decision, you're not doing anything. On
the back of that, one of the most important things that I wish I could have told 15-year-old me is nothing is ever a loss. I'm not just talking about a loss in terms of a game and you lose the match, but like all the bad things that you think are happening to you, you learn from them. You never fully lose. Nothing's ever really that bad. You're always learning from something. Let's say you run at a prop and he absolutely floors you. yeah, you might be in pain, you might get injured, you might be out for 3 games, but you learn next time, I'm not going to try and run at someone who's twice the size of me. I'm going to try and do something to get around him and put someone else in the space. Like, everything that seemed like a setback is never really a setback, because there's always going to be another door that opens. You know, let's say you don't get picked to be in a certain squad. Now all of a sudden you're not training on that Saturday. You might go somewhere else and play for a different team on the Saturday, and now all of a sudden you're spotted by a different coach who values you really highly, and you get in the national team or regional team. Like, all those little things wouldn't have happened. I'm a firm believer in, sounds really sad when you say it out loud, but like, not fate, but everything that happens to you happens for a reason. You know, whether you meet someone and then things fall out later, everything happens for a reason. You're always learning from situations. And if you're always learning, you're never really losing. Simple as that.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else?
I think we wanted to talk a little bit about motivation, I guess. And I think I personally believe that self-discipline is something. Motivation doesn't get you to the gym when you don't want it. Motivation comes in waves. Everyone becomes unmotivated at some point.
Yeah.
It's the self-discipline that makes you do the actions that you need to do to become where you want to go.
Yeah.
Or to go where you want to go.
I agree with that.
People say, like, you know, I didn't go to the gym because I'm not motivated. I'm like, no, you are motivated because you know what you want to achieve, and you know you want to do those actions that will get you there. But it's the discipline, and that's something that you can control.
Yeah.
You've just got to be able to do it. I know that sounds really daft, and it's something that you might have to learn, or it might have to come from a really big, like, repercussion of a poor decision that you made. So like, that self-discipline is what's going to get you there when you're not motivated. Use
the motivation that everyone has in that initial phase, you know, whether it's that driving force that I want to lose, 10 kilos, I want to go to the gym. Use that motivation to drive good habits. You know, whether that's, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock every morning. That's the habit. You use that motivation that you want to lose 10 kilos to build a habit, which is, I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock before work and I'm going to go to the gym. Now, if you use that motivation and you do that for a significant period of time, and I think it's something like 34 days to form a habit, your body and you just get in that routine of getting up at 6. So when those days where you really feel low motivation, your body and your habits and your time schedule all says, normally I get up at 6 and I'll go to the gym. So your body's waking yourself up at 6. I'm going to go to the gym. Even when you're feeling crap, you go. You might not necessarily have the best session, but you're going and you're doing it, and you're using that motivation to drive those habits. And then the habits drive the system. And like you said, you'll have those motivation dips, you'll have those motivational highs, but the habits keep you through those motivational dips. And then you can work even harder when you are really motivated. There's
a quote which backs that up, which I read in a book. I didn't read. It's an audio book. I listened to in an audio book, which I think was either 0 to 1 or 4 Hour Workweek or Atomic Habits. But all three are really good books, by the way.
Max's book recommendations.
Yeah, really good books. But
he doesn't read.
But I don't read audiobooks. I sit in the car for about 3 hours, or about 4 hours a day.
On to our new sponsor, Audible. JK.
It's actually Brewdog. No, what I was going to say was, you don't fall to your goals, to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So whatever you want to achieve, you're not going to fall to that achievement. You're going to fall to the level of the systems that you put in place to achieve that goal. So it's kind of like, in a sense, of saying, shoot for the moon and become a star, that's because your systems were put in place to make you become a star rather than a moon.
Yeah.
So if you've got a goal in mind, say, for the sake of ease, I know we're kind of talking more about athleticism and whatever, but say you've got a goal to lose weight,
Yeah.
you're not going to achieve that just by having that goal of losing weight. It's going to be, you know, you're going to achieve, you know, to the level of your systems, and they might be to wake up and go and walk the dog for 15 minutes in the morning before work, or to go to the gym, or to do this amount of times a week, and so on. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you make sure that the systems that you put in place are directly
in line with your goal.
In line with your goal, because there's no point in being motivated to lose the weight if you're not going to put the systems in and actually apply those systems in your life, which is kind of backing up what you're saying.
One other point that I just thought about, and I did touch on it earlier, but I really want to hit it home, is hard work. Hard work goes such a long way in terms of everything in your life. If you want to be the next, you know, England footballer, basketball player, not England basketball player, it's rubbish, but like NBA star, American football, whatever you want to do, you are not going to get there without hard work. But the same thing goes for anything in life. Like, if you want to apply for, I'm using this as an example because I've recently applied for a new job, and without hard work in sitting down when the motivation's low, you know, when I wanted to go to the gym, you've got to sit down, you've got to do the hard work that you don't necessarily want to do to get the outcome that you want to achieve. I had to sit down, prepare for the interview, prepare a PowerPoint that I didn't really want to prepare for, put in the hard work, and you get the results you want. If you want to, you know, gain a stone of muscle or 6 kilos of muscle, you're going to have to work consistently. You're not going to get those results immediately. You're going to have to put in the hard work in terms of the gym session. That doesn't then end there. You've got to put in the hard work in making sure you're eating the correct amount of food, getting the right recovery, sleeping enough. All of those things are difficult. It goes for anything in life. If you want something, you've got to work for it. And this is why I hate the States at the moment. I don't say the States as in like America, but like, you know how everything's participation. Like, oh, well done, you participated. There's no real winners here. Like, I think someone at work was talking about kids at sports day. There's no winners and there's no losers. Everyone gets participation medal. And you're like, well, that's crap, because someone might have worked really, really hard to be, you know, work on their sprint or work on their strength or fitness to win a race.
You don't get a participation award for doing an English exam.
You don't.
Because ultimately, and this is something that
And I know exams are difficult because some people are dyslexic or something like that, but in terms of hard work, people might put in so much effort because they want the result, and then they get shafted because someone who's put in no work gets the same outcome. And I'm sorry, but that doesn't account for real life. If I didn't put in that effort for that job interview, I wouldn't have got the job. Someone else would, who's put in more effort than me. If I didn't put in, you know, the time and effort to study really hard at my nutrition degree, my dietetics degree, I wouldn't be getting the job that I'm in now. I wouldn't be able to do this podcast now because I wouldn't have the knowledge. But someone might, you know, if we just did participation and stuff, someone could have the same qualifications as me because we're all doing participation here. I just think hard work in everything you do, you know, gym, exercise, training, work, just put 100% of effort in. It goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Bit of a rant.
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah. Drink hard. Hydrate hard.
You got the job, by the way, we was telling about before.
Got the job, by the way, guys.
So he's like, yeah, hard work really gets you a long way. You apply for jobs, you don't fucking get it.
So we're celebrating with the non-alcoholic beers, because I'm a dietitian.
Speak to yourself for yourself, pal.
Yeah, Max is having a nice brew dog.
I'm on a brew dog.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed the episode. Catch you later. See you next week. Ta-ta.
Ta-ta.
Arrivederci.